Well, hi, and welcome to the After the Show show here. I am Scott Hinton, chairman of the Common Sense Club, host of the Scott Hinton Show, author of, have I mentioned lately? Grassroots, Common Sense Action Agenda for America. Still lots of things in the works with book parties and lots of fun planned for Grassroots. But if you haven't bought a copy yet, I'd love it if you do it. Go to scotthinton.com. Speaking of books, Muzzled, The Assault on Honest Debate. Juan Williams was on the program today. We had a fun conversation to start the show today for the first half hour. Juan's a good guy. He really is. I mean, hopeless liberal, but a good guy, and one that I think was unfairly silenced and muzzled, as the book says, by NPR. But he did a nice job of kind of walking us through the issues of that book and talking about a little bit about the political landscape as it exists today. And I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Also on the program, Senator Jim DeMint today. Interesting, and I think this will make some news. He pushed back a little against some of the candidates that are piling on Rick Perry over his Social Security comments, saying really you ought not be saying anything unless you have a plan yourself, number one. Number two, it is a Ponzi scheme. Financially, the finances of it are a Ponzi scheme, so that was interesting. Don Rumsfeld was on the program today, talked a little bit about his recollections of 9/11, of course wrote the book Known and Unknown. He was the defense secretary, brought us back inside his office when he's being briefed about the planes hitting the Pentagon, or rather hitting the World Trade Center, and then literally the desk shakes, and he rushes out and becomes one of the first responders, helping with some of the triage. We also talked with him about what he thought about Paul Krugman in the New York Times over the weekend. I think I have the piece here, writing about the fake heroes in George W. Bush. I mean, the New York Times is so over the top. He put out a tweet yesterday essentially saying, after reading the repugnant piece on 9/11, I canceled my subscription to the New York Times. We asked him about that today, and he opened up on the New York Times saying enough is enough, and basically encouraged all of us to punch back and punish the New York Times a little bit for those comments. Our final hour today, we also talked to Jana Myrdal, did a lot of recapping of the debate. Rob Porter of the Say Anything blog joined me. Jana Myrdal was front and center last night, North Dakota Concern for Women, also the state director of Organized for Palin. She's still hopeful and believes that Sarah Palin's going to be in this race. So that was an interesting conversation as well. Our final hour I thought was very interesting in that two completely different industries, but the narrative right now by the mainstream media is that Obama's concerned about job creation. Can't get enough jobs. Oh, Jobs Act, American Jobs Act, jobs. Yet two industries are being targeted by the administration, two that are actually hiring. One is the oil and gas industry. And specifically, Mike Cantrell, who heads up an organization called the Domestic Energy Producers Alliance, joined us to talk about a viewpoint that he has in a number of papers around the state on here's what he calls it, the artificial cost of production. And specifically talking about how his industry is being targeted by, the regulators. They are coming after him. 28 dead birds over a period of 45 days at 7 different drilling sites are leading to charges from the U.S. Attorney in North Dakota, partnering up with the Fish and Wildlife Service. It's over the top. It's ridiculous. And he talked about it. Coincidentally, the Fish and Wildlife Service also teaming up to take on Gibson guitars. Armed agents, 20 armed agents, seized millions of dollars in inventory against this company down in Tennessee. Actually, they have offices in Tennessee and I think Texas, too. They're a Nashville company. But a number of their sites actually targeted here recently by armed agents. And there are no charges filed here. They're left to guess what this is about. They believe it has to do with the source of some wood that they've used and gone through, customs agents to get and, independent contractors and everything else. But again, where's the concern for the folks actually creating jobs? It's a fascinating story. I hope you get a chance to hear it as well. I'll be off for a couple of days. Just give you the scoop there. My third and final surgery at Mayo Clinic related to my colon removal, which is out. But right now there's a technology that when you have your colon out, they rebuild a colon using your small intestine. And so I'm going back in to have my plumbing hooked back up. And the final stage of this, they call it a takedown. But anyway, it's welcome. I'm glad I'm finally in that final stage, but it will have me out and off the show for a couple of days. So Rob Port, Eugene Grainer, and others will be subbing for yours truly here. It's supposed to be only a couple of days, so down there for appointments and the pre-op stuff on Wednesday, actual surgeries Thursday. I hope to come home Saturday and be back on the air Tuesday, Wednesday next week, if all goes well. So keep me in your prayers. That's the plan. And thanks for watching the After the Show show on the Scott Hinton Show on the Common Sense Club at scotthinton.com.